12 sports team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
Thank you once again for starting your Southern Tier Kickoff with us this Saturday morning. It is week 4 here at the WBNG desk, and we are excited for another jam-packed weekend of both college football. Plus, hey, make sure you tune in tonight at 11 for highlights. We have a 6-pack of Section 4 high school football in store for you as well. But that's not until tonight. So let's get into it and not get ahead of ourselves, and let's bring in the rest of the team here once again at the STK desk. Kyle Spisak, as always, joining us, and for the first time at the desk, Keith Savage. Gentlemen, how are we doing this morning, Kyle?
Doing pretty good. Another great day of college football. Syracuse played last night. Penn State's back today. So, you know, we had the bye week last week. Good to get the local teams back in the rotation today.
I appreciate you still saying it's a good day even after what happened with Syracuse last night.
So, rough loss.
Keith joining us for the first time here at the desk. How's it feel?
Yeah, I'm excited to get it for the first time. Talking some college football picks. But overall, a lot of good games going on today. Saw the Syracuse a little to get more into that. But I'm more excited for the first time getting this opportunity.
And we're excited to have you here as well. So, we start our morning in Happy Valley. Number 10, Penn State, playing host to the Golden Flashes of Kent State. The Nittany Lions are finishing up its non-conference schedule with a second straight opponent out of the MAC. And this one coming off of a historic loss. Kyle, what can Penn State expect this afternoon?
Yeah, and after a bye week last week, Penn State returns to Beaver Stadium to take on the Kent State Golden Flashes this afternoon at 3:30. Penn State's looking to bounce back after a nail-biter of a game against Bowling Green 2 weeks ago when the Falcons shocked the nation by leading the 8th-ranked Nittany Lions at halftime by a score of 24-20. Penn State's defense looked extremely shaky in this matchup before getting things together and only allowing 3 points in the second half. Nick Singleton led the charge for the Nittany Lions, rushing for 119 yards and 1 touchdown on 13 carries, while also picking up a touchdown through the air. Penn State head coach James Franklin says they need to be better tackling and to stick to their jobs this week.
Just keep talking.
And Coach Franklin said that really Penn State needs to get it together and finish their tackles, not finishing any tackles last week, allowing the Falcons to get out on top of Penn State right out of the gate and holding players accountable to just doing their jobs. The way to get back to just doing their jobs is in the second half. They need to build on really just finishing tackles going into week 3. And the keys for Penn State this week's matchup is first being stronger on tackles, wrapping up and making sure guys go down and don't get those extra yards. Second, the Nittany Lions need to get the offense rolling early. After a bye week last week, it'll be important to jump right out of the gate with how they played 2 weeks ago. They cannot afford to have a slow start on offense this week. Lastly, they need to be able to convert on third downs this week against Bowling Green. Penn State went 2 for 9 on third down conversions, and with Big Ten conference play right around the corner, Penn State needs to step things up and get things in motion this week.
All right, Kyle, you talked a little bit about staying cool and calm under pressure, which you did a great job there, as we lost some technical difficulties there, lost our prompter, lost our monitors. Hey, it's all right. That's what happens in live TV. So if things start going bad for Penn State this week, how do they stay composed?
They've really just got to trust their defense. I mean, they do have a really good defense, but like we said, wrapping up tackles, they just need to be able to get guys around and bring them down instead of allowing them to break those tackles, get another 10 yards. Also, have faith in their offense. Their offense is strong. Nick Singleton's one heck of a running back. You got to trust him. And Drew Aller didn't throw the ball much. Get the ball in his hands a little bit more. Let him to make those plays downfield.
All right. You know, that being said, how do you coach up tackling? I know it's something that, you know, even at the lowest level, Pop Warner, it's all about how to get wrapped around the ball. You know, how does Penn State make those adjustments this week?
You know, it's tough. You just got to make sure Kent State, you're going to beat that team by a wide margin. But the thing is, you have to make sure they don't win by too much if you're Penn State. Penn State can't give up too much to Kent State because they've been struggling overall the last few games where overall Kent State 49-point underdogs, where Penn State's been struggling overall. They haven't covered the spread one single time this entire season, so they have to really focus on getting the goal of just winning this ball game, not focus too much on winning by a wide margin.
All right, well, you mentioned the spread, so real quick, we will get into the rest of our picks later on, and as always, we do. But real quick, we'll get this one out of the way. Penn State minus 49 against Kent State. Who do you like?
I mean, Penn State will win this game, obviously. I don't think they're covering the spread, though, this week. They had that bye week, and they had a real rough outing against Bowling Green. I don't have faith in them putting up over 49 points in the margin.
All right, and how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm on the same exact note. Like I said, they haven't done it one single time this season. They haven't even scored over 34 points at all this entire year. So I don't see them winning by 49. I see it about like 35-30, but I do not see them winning by 7 touchdowns.
And as you can see, I actually disagree with that as well. I'm going to go with Penn State. I'm going to take the 49 points. Give the 49 points. I think they bounce back. I think with the bye week, they get the offense in check. So also coming off of a bye week was Syracuse, the Orange, hosting Stanford. As Stanford, with its first game in the ACC, we're going to head on over as Keith Savage has highlights from last night.
Yeah, Stanford with its first ACC game at the JMA Wireless Dome. And right away, the Cardinals just got off to a hot start. You see the fans rooting for Syracuse as they go for the first time. Stanford trying to get something, and they do. First touchdown of the game for an early 7-0 lead. Stanford, again, first time here, first ACC game. That's Kyle McCord on the run, finding Umari Hatcher. That will go all the way to bring the deficit to just 3. Then there's just a few minutes left in the fourth. Again, this team finds itself down, but McCord, they find a TD right here for a 1-point lead. All they have to do is not let the Cardinals score. And with just a few seconds remaining, it's Stanford's Emmett Kenny draining the 39-yarder to give the Orange its first loss of the year. Yeah, so Syracuse overall, Fred Brown talked about after how the team fought hard, and the loss is mainly on the coach's fault, not really on the players' fault. He was proud of his squad, but it just didn't turn out their way against brand new ACC team and Stanford. But overall, this offense for Syracuse has been rolling really good. Kyle McCord has over 3 straight games now with over 330 yards and combined 10 touchdowns now. This offense, to me, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, the offense looks really good. Like you mentioned, it's having the defense step up. You got players like Diggs that he has played good in the last couple of weeks, but missing Marlo Wax is a huge loss for Syracuse. That's really the captain of the defense. He's the guy that you run everything through. Losing him, that's going to play a big toll on your defense. But like you mentioned, Kyle McCord, I mean, the hype is real with this man in Syracuse. He's just straight balling out, and there's no other way to describe that.
Listen, I know you guys are both excited about it, but for Orange fans, I think they have to be a little bit worried. And I don't want to say it is too early to say that this is a key game in the Fran Brown era, but next week is a key game in the Fran Brown era. You have a team that is coming off of a bye, a team that was hyping up, packing the house at the Dome, and a team that was hosting an ACC for the first time, Stanford going across country to play on a Friday night. That's a game that Syracuse needs to win, and a game that Fran Brown might be upset that they did not. But stay tuned and stay with us as we have a lot more here on the Southern Tier Kickoff ahead for you, including we go live at Colgate for a Southern Tier Showdown. Don't go anywhere.
ADHD diagnoses in the United States for school kids has increased by 43% in less than 10 years.
This is the first time a teacher ever mentioned ADHD. I was super offended.
A big part of me thought it was a bogus diagnosis.
The flip side of distractibility is curiosity. What's that? What's that? What's that? If you didn't care, you wouldn't get distracted.
I'm a risk taker. I'm creative.
Zara's a brilliant writer.
He has a lot of skills, like to ask questions, to be argumentative, to push boundaries.
Around ADHD, there's tremendous ignorance. Most people are not aware of the positives that go with it.
Can't sit still, disorganized, can't focus, lazy, stupid.
You can't make it. You never listen, you don't clean your room. It's a super skill set.
I met Robin, and he helped me find a mentor who guided me a little bit. He's up in Binghamton, I believe. And I just did the business plan, and I decided to act on it as I really like the boba tea, and it's popular with my generation of people, and you can't really get it in rural areas, which clearly that's where I'm at. So it took off, and Robin nominated me for the Youth Entrepreneur of the Year, and that's how we got here.
Suicide is never an easy subject to talk about, and it can affect any one of us. That is why AFSP is hosting its annual Out of the Darkness Suicide Prevention Walk. The walk is meant to create a dialogue and to show us that no one deserves to feel alone during a difficult time. So join us right here at Mirabito Stadium on September 29th at 10:30 a.m. to honor loved ones who have passed and to support those who need us. For more information, you can visit afsp.org.
From the nicest man in Mayberry.
I'm an honest man and an honest sheriff.
To the biggest mouth in Queens.
You're gonna love this!
You won't find a better sheriff.
Oh, shucks.
Or a worse neighbor.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life.
The Andy Griffith Show, weeknights at 8.
I think you're the best sheriff in the whole world.
And All in the Family, Sundays at 8.
Get lost.
Weekends and weeknights on Binghamton's MeTV.
Have you ever seen this man before?
Hi. They're a tag team of legal eagles.
My name is Mason.
Ben Matlock. A duo of courtroom commanders.
Are you sure?
And they're both part of the...
Objection?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection.
Objection Connection.
Your witness, Mr. Berger.
Gotcha.
So put a little habeas in your corpus with Ben and Perry.
Weekdays starting at 9 a.m. on Binghamton's MeTV.
No further questions.
12 Sports Team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
Cornell's up in Hamilton, New York, facing Colgate this afternoon. Let's take a look at the forecast and what we can expect to see during the game. As we take a look at the weather conditions, you'll notice really no huge issues across the area here. We are looking at the possibility of seeing a few more clouds, but it is looking like it's going to remain relatively dry and comfortable. Temperatures at kickoff around 71 degrees by the time we get towards halftime, looking at highs in the mid-70s. I think that's where we'll top off as we head into the fourth quarter. So no real weather concerns across the area. Besides those clouds, we are looking relatively dry here as we head towards kickoff. Meteorologist Connor Thompson once again with your football forecast, and we're going to be live in Colgate in just a few moments. But here in the Southern Tier in Cortland, the Red Dragons have started off both of its Saturdays so far this season red hot, putting up historic numbers with its pair of wins against Hilbert and Lycoming. Cortland has put up 70-plus points in both of its games so far this season, and the Red Dragons opened on the road with a 76-0 shutout of Hilbert. Cortland followed that up with a 70-7 drubbing of Lycoming as they raised the team's national championship banner before the home opener. Dragons, though, are looking to exact revenge on the only team that beat them last season, as Cortland will hit the road for a ranked matchup with number 11 Susquehanna. The team, looking to continue its offensive onslaught in 2024, is led by senior quarterback Zach Boyce. Boyce earned the honors for his performance on Saturday last week against Lycoming. The quarterback went 18 of 19 passing and at one point completed 15 straight throws. Boyce also broke a couple of school records on Saturday. The senior completed his 481st career completion. That etched his name atop the list in Cortland history. Also in the win, Boyce went over 300 yards passing. That, the 9th time in his career, tying a SUNY Cortland career record. Cortland gets their first true test of the season this week. Like I said, hitting the road, taking on 11th ranked Susquehanna.
You know, I'm soaking in every moment, trying to just enjoy my time as a Red Dragon as much as I can. And like I said, I just really want to go out on top and leave a good legacy here. So I'm very motivated, very hungry, and excited to get after it.
Cortland enters this matchup with a 14-game winning streak since that loss. Susquehanna has won 23 straight regular season games since last year's contest. The Riverhawks won that game on a last-second field goal. These two teams kick off in just a few moments at noon. That game at Amos Alonzo Stage Field in PA, and not the only game going on in the Southern Tier.
Now, the Hartwick Hawks look to bounce back from a brutal 51-26 loss against Keystone College last weekend in their home opener this afternoon against Juanita College at 1 p.m. The Hawks are currently tied 1-1 on the season, but are looking to improve that to 2-1. Juanita ran a rough start to the season, falling to 0-2 after 2 big losses to Gettysburg and Alfred to start the season. Again, that game takes place this afternoon at 1 p.m. at Wright Stadium in Oneonta for Hartwick's home opener for the season.
Stay tuned on WBNG for CBS Game of the Day. College football kicks off at 3:30 this afternoon as USC travels across the good part of the country to take on defending champions Michigan Wolverines. USC enters the game ranked 11th, and they are looking to keep their undefeated season intact. Again, that game kicks off at 3:30 this afternoon right here on WBNG.
All right, don't go anywhere. We will be back in just a few moments as we're going to go live in Colgate in Hamilton, New York, and we will, of course, have your picks as we wrap up Southern Tier Kickoff once again this week.
You've worked hard. Long days. Year after year. Decade after decade. You've seen a lot of things. Enjoyed the good times and weathered the tough times. You've earned a life that you can call your own, alongside the people you love the most. Retirement worries shouldn't get in the way. But many Americans like you are finding that retiring on a fixed income is harder than they expected. Fortunately, there are thousands of benefits programs that can help. Visit benefitscheckup.org to see if you're among the millions of people eligible for thousands of dollars in benefits to help you age well, so you can focus on what's really important. Benefits Checkup. You've earned this.
Well, I'm Howard Mangis, and I'm once again very happy to be getting ready and taking part in the No Shave November 5K run walk here at Highland Park. To register, please visit tiogabank.com/CureTheBlue5K. Then click the Register Now button and select the participation option you wish, in person or virtual. So grab your family and friends and come on out here Saturday, November 2nd at 10 a.m. as we help to raise money and awareness to fight prostate cancer.
It's time for the Matthews Auto Walkathon to benefit local children's charities. Saturday, October 5th, all day. Matthews will donate $10 for every mile walked, as well as match cash donations up to a total donation of $100,000. Join us in person at the Rail Trail in Vestal or Weiler Park in Norwich and start walking for a very good cause.
The cornerstone of Investigate TV is investigative journalism. We want to get answers. We want to teach you something.
We always try to give viewers a takeaway, something they can learn from a story.
What is the solution here? Every story we air, we strive to be able to show that.
There are things that affect our homes, that affect our families, that affect our health, that we are learning every day from these stories.
Do you think people are dying?
Should this be better regulated? Should I be concerned? Do you recall when you became aware of that law?
The beauty of this show is that we have a team of reporters all across the country.
From very diverse backgrounds.
The public has a right to know. How big of a problem is that?
Should they be revoking these certifications?
I think viewers are looking for something different, something fresh, something that feels helpful to them.
It allows us to tell the best of the best stories and show them to you every day.
12 Sports Team presents your Southern Tier Kickoff.
We are about 12 minutes from kickoff here at high noon, and we are just a few minutes away from getting you our picks as well as we get into another week of football. But first, we are going to head just about an hour north. We're going to Hamilton as two Southern Tier teams are getting ready to start up in about an hour, 1 o'clock kickoff here. Michael Villegas is joining us from Hamilton as Cornell and Colgate are kicking off in a non-conference matchup. Michael, what is the scene in Hamilton right now?
Yeah, Zach, well, the scene, as you can see, it's
Not ready just yet. We're a little bit ways away from kickoff, as you said, at 1 o'clock. And it might be a non-conference matchup, but don't get this wrong. It is a rivalry game. It is the oldest rivalry, actually. These two meeting up 104 games over 128 years. And get this, it's a tight matchup with Cornell winning 51 of those games while Colgate has won 50. So it's a close, tight race matchup in this rivalry. Now it's the first year for Cornell Big Red head coach Dan Swatcham, who we spoke to earlier in the year, and he's saying that he's hoping that he learned from his time as a head coach with the Ithaca Bombers. He's going to have some help with his head coach, or his quarterback in Jamison Wang, who was the leading rusher and passer last year. So we'll see if the Cornell Big Red can get it done. But right here in Colgate, Michael Villegas, I'll toss it back to you guys.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you are a Pennsylvania resident, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY if you are a resident of New York. Please gamble responsibly. All right, thank you so much, Michael. We appreciate it. And again, that game kicking off at 1 o'clock. But there's some games that kick off at noon as well, 3:30, and some great games on the slate for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with those noon games, NC State and Clemson. Real quick, who do you like?
I'm going to go with NC State to cover the spread on this one. I mean, Clemson, they have had a bit of a turnaround in their season. Obviously, off the bat, playing Georgia, tough start. Dabo doesn't like to use the transfer portal at all whatsoever. I think they do take the win, but NC State, I mean, that 20.5 line, I think NC State, it's going to keep it a lot closer. That's a team that put up a pretty decent fight against Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same thing. Got the in-state rival. I'm going with NC State. In the last 3 games, it's been determined by 10 or less points, Clemson and NC State. So 20.5 is a lot. And I like those two in-state rivals being close games.
Well, just out of state, NC State, North Carolina, Clemson down to South Carolina. But, of course, you do have that Carolina back and forth. And NC State has always been trying to step up to be in that class of big boys in the ACC, along with Clemson and along with some of the other powers that have been atop. But this Clemson offense just is not what it used to be, and they don't have the firepower, I think, to put up that many points. I think it'll be a close game. I think Clemson does survive, but yeah, I'm going to take the 20.5 points and take NC State as well. We'll move on. We're going to go with LSU and UCLA next. UCLA making the trip across the country. I like UCLA here. I think LSU it's a shaky team, and Brian Kelly might be on his last legs in Baton Rouge already, which is scary to say. Who you like?
I mean, we saw a rough game for LSU. They did end up pulling it out against South Carolina last week. South Carolina is one heck of a team down in the SEC. And the SEC is a much tougher competition. It's the hardest conference in the entire nation. UCLA is coming into the Power 4 now with being in the Big Ten. Played their entire time in the Pac-12. I don't see them being able to make that jump and really compete against an SEC team. I'm taking LSU to cover the spread here.
Kyle, keep on going the same note. I'm going with you again. LSU, I just think this team, even though it was barely a win against South Carolina, kind of disappointed some people, I still think this team is very talented. And South Carolina is a bit of an underrated team where UCLA I'm not that sold on. 2 straight games over 36 for LSU. I think this is the time where LSU is going to show I'm a dominant team still, and they're going to win this game by over 30 points.
Wow, that is a big win. Big win. All right. We move on to the game of the day. That here, 3:30 p.m. on CBS. So make sure you tune into WBNG for that. USC facing Michigan in what is not a Rose Bowl. I mean, these two teams have met up in more Rose Bowls than anyone else. And in fact, the last time that they met in a regular season matchup was 1958, so more than half a decade ago. I love USC in this one. This is a good team, and we talked about the transfer portal when it comes to Georgia, when it comes to Clemson, but USC, that's the team this year that is maximizing the transfer portal to complement what they've done with recruiting. I like USC. I think they win by a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, I think USC also wins with a couple of touchdowns. I'm right there with you. I mean, Michigan is a very good running team, and statistically, I mean, throughout the years, USC doesn't have a fantastic defense, but LSU, a heavy rushing team, they were able to stymie that rushing game for LSU in that that season opener a couple of weeks ago. I have a lot more faith in their defense than I did, say, a year or two ago. And, I mean, the offense has been really just looking great throughout the start of the year. Running through the air, doesn't matter. So I think they'll cover the spread on this.
Keith, are you following suit?
So, Kyle, Michigan, You talked about the running game. When I was 12 years old, I found out I wasn't going pro because of Khalil Mullins. He was on my football team. I watched him practice every single day. And that's when I realized I'm not fit for this ball game. Khalil Mullins alone had 150 yards against Arkansas State on the ground with 2 touchdowns. That guy, I watched him enough. This kid is all around, is amazing. And I think him alone, he's going to have another over 100-yard rushing game against USC. It'd be a massive part of why they're going to win this game, Michigan, and kind of surprise some people and try to build that momentum up after losing Harbaugh.
All right, well, we got 3 more games that we're going to get through here real quickly. Utah, Oklahoma State. I actually like Oklahoma State. They survived last week against Arkansas. I think that's going to be the scare. And, I mean, he's no longer 40, but he's still a man, and Mike Gundy can still coach him up. So I'm going to go Oklahoma State here at home.
And, I mean, I do see where you're going with that. Stillwater's a real hard place to play. The Pokes go crazy. That fan base is absolutely insane. And they do have a heck of a running back with Ollie Gordon. I think Utah just is too veteran of a team. They've had players like Cam Rising there. I think he's on his 6th year now. They've had some players there that have been there for quite a while. And I really think that veteran defense and that veteran offense, they're going to be able to not only cover the spread, but I think they're going to blow out Oklahoma and Stillwater.
All right, real quick, who you like?
I'm going Utah. This defense is legit. Hold the teams under 21 points all 3 games. We're going Utah 2.5.
All right, we got 2 more to go, and we'll try to give them both. But right now, we're going to go Cal, FSU. Real quick, FSU 0-4 after today. Cal is going to win outright. I like Cal.
I don't know if I can go with that one. I mean, FSU has had their struggles. DJU has not looked great throughout this entire season. I think FSU, they have too good of a recruiting base. Cal's just not that team they were with Marshawn Lynch years ago.
All right, real quick.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I'm also going to go with California right here. FSU doesn't have Jameis Winston no more, and they are struggling.
All right, last game. Just say who you like. I like Tennessee -7. I think they're one of the best teams in the country.
Go Vols.
Yeah, I'm going Tennessee 2 -7.
All right, so we are across the board on Tennessee on that one. And we are just about out of time here on the Southern Tier Kickoff Show. We thank you once again for joining us this Saturday and every Saturday to start off your college football. Wonderful afternoon, and we hope that you have one as well. Thank you, and we will see you later.